Today we're breaking down a simple question. Why is being broke so expensive? Not emotionally, not motivationally, mathematically. By the end of this video, you'll understand why low savings increases your costs, why financial pressure reduces leverage, and how the system quietly charges more to people with less margin. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding the structure. Because once you understand the structure, you can change how you move inside it. Now let's break it down. Hi, I am Ryan. If you've ever felt like money disappears faster when you don't have it, you're not imagining it. Being broke isn't just stressful. It's expensive, and the math proves it. Let's start with something simple. When you don't have savings, every small emergency becomes a financial setback. Your car breaks down. You don't have $600, so you put it on a credit card. Now that $600 costs you 24% interest. If you pay it off slowly, that repair doesn't cost $600 anymore. It costs $750, maybe $800. That's the first layer of the math. Lack of liquidity creates interest. Now let's go deeper. When you don't have cash, you can't buy in bulk. You buy small packs, smaller quantities, short-term solutions. A $5 item today, another $5 tomorrow, another $5 next week. But the bulk version was $12. The broke version of life always costs more per unit. That's not motivation. That's pricing structure. Now let's look at credit. People think credit cards are about spending. They're not. They're about timing. If you have money and use credit, you win points, rewards, leverage. If you don't have money and use credit, you pay interest. Same tool, different financial position, opposite outcome. That's structural math. Now housing. If your credit score is low because you've struggled before, you don't get prime rates. You get higher interest. On a $200,000 mortgage, a 2% interest difference can cost you over $70,000 extra over time. That's not because you're irresponsible. It's because risk pricing exists. The system charges more to people with less margin. Now let's talk about time. When you're broke, you make short-term decisions. Not because you're careless, because you have to. You can't think 5 years ahead when you're thinking about Friday. So you choose convenience over efficiency. You choose now over later. And later charges interest. This is why being broke feels exhausting. Every decision carries pressure. And pressure reduces optimization. Now here's the uncomfortable part. When you don't have savings, you lose negotiating power. You can't walk away from a bad job. You can't reject unfair pay. You can't wait for better opportunities. Because you need the paycheck immediately. So you accept lower leverage. Lower leverage equals lower income growth. Lower income growth equals longer exposure to high-cost living. That's the loop. Being broke isn't a personality flaw. It's a compounding disadvantage. And compounding works both ways. Let's compare two people. Person A has $10,000 saved. Person B has $0 saved. Both lose their job. Person A can survive 6 months. Take interviews calmly. Negotiate properly. Person B needs income in 2 weeks. Person B takes the first offer, even if it pays less. Over 10 years, that difference in one decision can equal tens of thousands in lifetime income. That's not luck. That's margin. Now let's talk about fees. Late fees, overdraft fees, penalty charges. These are flat fees. Flat fees hurt low balances more. A $35 overdraft fee on a $200 balance is brutal. On a $20,000 balance, it's irrelevant. Same fee, different impact. Now subscriptions. When you're financially tight, you sometimes use buy now pay later services. It feels smaller, more manageable. But splitting payments creates mental permission to spend more. 3 payments of $40 feels lighter than $120 once. But it's still $120. Except now you've locked future income. And when multiple small obligations stack, your cash flow becomes restricted. Restricted cash flow increases stress. Stress increases impulsive decisions. Impulsive decisions increase financial leakage. The math continues. Now here's the part most people ignore. Being broke also costs energy. When every expense feels heavy, you spend more time thinking about money. That mental bandwidth has value. It affects productivity, focus, risk tolerance. Financial instability reduces strategic thinking. That's not theory. It's behavioral economics. Scarcity narrows cognitive bandwidth. And when your thinking narrows, your decisions narrow, which reduces upside potential. Now let's flip the equation. When you have savings, you don't just have money. You have options. Options reduce urgency. Reduced urgency improves decisions. Improved decisions improve outcomes. And improved outcomes compound. This is why wealth feels calm. Not because wealthy people are smarter, but because margin removes pressure. The math of being broke is not emotional. It's structural. High interest, high fees, low leverage, short time horizons, reduced negotiating power, increased cognitive stress. Each one alone is manageable. Together, they create drag, and drag slows progress. So the real cost of being broke is not the lack of money. It's the price of instability. When you remove instability, you don't just gain savings. You remove penalties. And removing penalties is sometimes more powerful than increasing income. That's the math. Not motivational, not dramatic, just arithmetic. And arithmetic does not care how hard you work. It responds to structure. Change the structure, and the numbers change. That's where progress actually begins.